Full Moon used to be, you know, a good, decent, low-budget company. You know, when I was younger, I used to watch, not a lot of them, but mainly like the Puppet Master, a few of the early ones, like the second one, the fourth and fifth one. Then got older, saw Subspecies 3, I believe, and 2. And then I was exposed to even more Full Moon later on down the years. And then, you know, I don't get what happened. Like, what happened to practical, you know, effects, to building, like, the sets to make sure, you know, the move, the puppet looks like it's actually moving and, you know, actually there and with interacting with the actors. And what happened to Full Moon trying so hard to, you know, be fun and energetic in a way, even slightly different and fresh? Now it's all a bunch of softcore content and, you know, terrible Full Moon flicks like Killjoy, which I don't get how many, I don't understand the fan base of that. The transfer films, I can sort of see why people like most of them anyway. Demonic Toys was a good one. I don't know about the second one because I didn't watch the second one, but I like the first one. Dollman versus Demonic Toys I like. I know a lot of people probably don't really care for that one. I liked it. And yeah, the Subspecies films I like. And the Puppet Master films I like. Even except retro, I will never understand if anybody can, you know, sit down and praise that film. I don't get how anybody can like that film. That one, to me, that's the worst one. Because at least Legacy, granted, it's not really a movie because it's mainly it's mainly a clip show of the other movies, but at least it's trying to, like, chronologically correct stuff in a way. Granted, it doesn't really successfully do that, but it at least attempts to connect the films together. Where, like, you know, retro just doesn't, and then it changes the actual way the formula works to animate these puppets, as well as in this movie they do that. And granted, I know Puppet Master has a terrible continuity reputation, where they apparently don't really care what they set up in the other movies previously. This one, the lead girl, who I guess I didn't watch the Axis movies. The only one I saw was the first one. That's the only one I have. Maybe I'll watch Termination and Rising or whatever. I did review the first two Puppet Master films. I did mean to do the other ones, but then I was doing other stuff. But yeah, this one, you know, I saw the trailer. It wasn't as cool as I thought it would be. I wasn't really interested in it. Granted, Blade's like my favorite puppet of all of them. And even that remake or reboot of the series that they did with the recent one, I liked a bit. It was pretty decent. I don't like how it ends, where it's to be continued, and it probably will never get a sequel. But yeah, this one, like, it gets either bad reviews or some people are okay with it because it's old school Full Moon, but not real. To me, this isn't really as Full Moon as Full Moon used to be. Like, it's not. There's some sprinkles of old school Full Moon in it, but then it dwindles throughout the film. I mean, the acting's fine in some areas, but then there's actors that like, there's a guy who sees a dead body, doesn't react normal. He's like, "There's a dead body," or a dead cop or whatever, and then he, like, the other guy's like, "Yeah, you never saw a dead body before," and some of the acting was probably overdone, over the top. Also, the lead actress, granted, I'll give props to her, the fact that she was okay being nude in this film. At least, like, twice. There's a scene where I don't understand what, she doesn't have a bathroom, I guess, or a tub or a shower, because like she's taking like a bird bath in her room. I'm like, what? With the window and, you know, curtains all open at night, and so anybody can look in her room and see her doing that, get a free peep show. And then even towards the third act, where, you know, our Nazi bad guys, which again, we're doing the Nazi things in these. You know, it was fine when you did it in Puppet Master 3 and the others, but it starts to get redundant after you do like 4 or 5 movies of that. Like, they even did with like the remake, which was or reboot, which was annoying. Like, do something different. At least with Puppet Master, Puppet Master 2, and even Puppet Master 1, they mention the Nazis, but they're not really in it. You see them at the beginning, and that's it. But even the first one, the second one, 4th and 5th one are really its own story. No Nazis there, and more of a demon thing. 6 is whatever it wants to not be, or try to be. It had potential, and then it just squandered it. And then Reptro goes back to that, but then it also does the demon thing, but not as good at all. Emotep, or whatever his name was. And then we have Legacy, which, again, clips show of the other movies, where it tries to connect them in a way, but then tries to leave stuff out of it, but or it doesn't even mention half the stuff it is trying to whatever. And then you have the Axis movies, which is all Nazis, puppets fighting the Nazis, and that gets annoying after a while. So yeah, them doing this again, granted, it's supposed to be, I guess this is supposed to be a spin-off from Axis Termination or whatever. I didn't see that, so I don't know. I guess the lead girl from that movie is the lead girl here, same actress, which is pretty cool, I guess. Granted, you do see the other puppets, but they're not alive. You see them for like a brief minute, and then they're off screen. It's mainly Blade and this psychic girl who they don't really spend a lot of time building their relationship, or whatever you want to call it. It's mainly her in the office, because she's a journalist, or a war journalist who's psychic, and has like a link to Blade, which they don't really expand on as much, or explain really. Or they don't really explain, really. What else? But yeah, you have this organization, this Nazi organization, trying to they build like a death ray or whatever. Then we have a detective who works for I guess then they want to say Americans are also Nazis in this, or working with the Nazis or something. So it's all over the place with that. In terms of the effects in this film, again, they're not. I want to be, you know, generous and loyal to Full Moon, because they're a low budget company. But when you literally, like, false advertise the look of a puppet on the poster, let alone, there's literally a scene in this, they show the old Blade from one of the other earlier movies. They literally have a still shot in a newspaper or an article or something that this sheriff or whoever this guy is reading, where it has like a picture of Pinhead, which I'm like, who took these pictures to do that and get that shot? But yeah, like I didn't understand that. So that stuck out to me the most, because like, you show like a better Blade, and the better Blade is actually a picture of, cool Blade, whereas this one, his lower jaw, lower mouth is it's like it's bulged out a bit, like they sculpted it a bit too big. He was like American Dad almost, Stan from American Dad, if like, I didn't like that. I don't like the look of Blade in this, let alone the effects were kind of dodgy to retro type. They do try to do, some throwback shots of the old movies where, they'll show like Blade running. Like, they don't show his feet, but they show like the puppet part move. Right, you can tell, and then there's also, you can tell somebody literally dressed up as Blade and then did like a scene of killing somebody. And you can also tell somebody had the same cloth or same fabric as the puppet, and literally you can tell like this big giant arm is cutting away on this person who he's supposed to be killing. You can tell that's not really the puppet's arm, because it's bigger than the puppet. Just by a bit, I guess. But yeah, and then these digital half the time, or CGI. Really, I didn't mind actually the quick running of Blade when he runs. Either look digital, CGI, whatever. I didn't actually mind that. I would have preferred they just did a lot of that instead of doing this. And then I didn't understand. Okay, they change. Also, they mentioned Tu Long's name like twice in this entire movie. Because, like, I guess this girl, she only has like a little bit of the formula left. So she's like, I'm not going to use it because it's only a little bit left. But just use my energy so you can still be alive. Which I'm like, where did that come from? Because that's not in the other movies. They never say that in any of the movies. I remember the movies. They do not say that ever for a puppet to use a living person's energy. And then it doesn't make sense, because like, why, because at one point he gets obliterated by the Nazi main guy, literally hammers him down and breaks his head apart, and then she's feeling like the impact, but she doesn't die. And then he burns Blade, and I didn't understand what was the use of her. She doesn't even really, she's not really in danger. All she does is feel, I guess, his pain, I guess, but then she doesn't die from what he's feeling. So I didn't understand that. But yeah, it ends where he lets Blade, I guess, kill his boss, because he's part of the Nazi people. Because he is, technically, so. He's like, I will find more of your people. And, yeah, then the movie ends with Blade running at the guy in a whatever person in Blade suit. Literally credited in the Blade suit. Kills the guy, we don't see it. Cuts away. And it ends, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this movie. If they would have just I don't know what you could have done. Why did it have to be a spin-off of the other Axis movies? Like, why couldn't it just been um, something else? I wouldn't mind, but then of course the effects probably wouldn't have been even good even with a different story. But I don't know, like they should have maneuvered around. Like the other movies were um, low budget, and they still like their effects still hold up to me. Where this one, like it's not. I mean, it's a short movie. It's only an hour and 10 minutes, but it was kind of boring. And granted, there's kills that are gory, but I don't know. And then the whole effects with Blade and the way he looks, it just kept bothering me. And then the fact that they show a picture of a better looking Blade, which is from the other movies, which doesn't make sense of why he looks the way he looks in this movie when you think about it, let alone the other puppets, because they do pan to the other puppets. That didn't make, at least like CGI to make the look of the other one in the picture look like the one now, but nope, they don't do that. It's like, remember when Blade in his glory days, but now he's a shell imitation of himself. This was just kind of depressing. Very depressing. But yeah, I would say if you are, I guess, a diehard Puppet Master fan, I guess, or a Full Moon fan, I guess give it a watch. But don't go into it thinking it's going to be like the other movies that are much, much better. Except Retro. But yeah, I guess they pass on this overall. I don't recommend it at all. But yeah, if anybody is interested in, Patreon or PayPal for requesting content such as movie reviews, reactions, or commentaries, what have you, links down below. Thank you for watching, and if you're new, please subscribe, like, comment,